Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a new combination of shell and choke to try out that we've never tested on the channel, and I believe these shells might even be brand new to the market because I haven't seen much of anything about them. I don't think I've seen anybody test them or really talk about them at all as to if they're decent or kind of junk, so I have no idea what we're going to get as far as performance goes today. But as for those shells we're going to run today, I brought out some of these. The Hevi-Shot Hevi Bismuth turkey loads. I believe these are new to the market for this year, so I guess we'll see what they can do. But they're a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of bismuth 4s and 5s, moving at about 1,300 feet per second. So even though these are a Hevi-Shot load, they are bismuth, not the typical Hevi-Shot like 12 grams per cc density type of stuff. This is bismuth, and they do claim here on the top of the box that it's 9.6 grams per cc, so not quite as good as lead, so they have to use a little bit larger pellet sizes to compensate. And as far as Hevi-Shot goes, it's been very hit or miss for me and a lot of other people. Sometimes it performs good, other times it really disappoints. So what can a Hevi-Shot bismuth load actually give us? Since these are, I think, like $18 a box or so for 5 of them, I don't know what we're gonna see, but I guess we'll see what happens through today's choke combo. But as for today's setup, I brought out my Remington 870 special purpose. It has a 24-inch barrel on it, but for the choke, I got something new, which is this guy, a Hevi-Shot Hevi Choke extended range 662 constriction turkey choke. I figured since I found some of these new Hevi-Shot bismuth shells, and I just so happened to recently pick up a Hevi-Shot 662 choke, we'd pair the two of them together and see what they can actually do, because you would think that they would have tested those shells through a choke like this since they apparently make it. So we'll see what this Hevi-Shot 662 can give us with them, and if it's going to work out for us at all. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. The turkey target's at 40 yards, and I've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity from the shells. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see what these new Hevi-Shot bismuth turkey loads can do through the Hevi-Shot 662 choke. Are they going to be any decent or not? I don't know, but let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, so that shell gave us 1310 through the chrono. The box claim is 1300, so we pretty much hit the nail on the head there out of that 24-inch barrel. So not looking bad at all for velocity up here, but what kind of a pattern did they give us down there at 40? Let's go check it out and see what we got. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard target, and this is what we got. Now, we might have been just a touch off to the left and maybe just a touch high. I felt pretty confident in my shot there, so that choke might just hit a little bit off from where that shotgun typically does. Either way, we do still have a dead bird here. There are a good number of them right through the brain and a couple more down the spine. So yeah, you would have absolutely gotten the job done there without a doubt. Now, looking at the entire pattern here, I'm saying it's somewhere in the middle. This is not a terrible turkey pattern overall, especially for a Hevi-Shot shell. They have tended to struggle a little bit in our testing with them and kind of be all over the place and sporadic. So this isn't terrible for a Hevi-Shot load, even though it is a bismuth pellet, but it's definitely not very even as well. It's pretty blotchy, especially over here towards the right side of this pattern. There's a bunch of voids in there that I really don't like. And even over here more towards our core, you can still see little clumps of pellets with some smaller voids between them. So it's definitely not perfectly even around the edges. We definitely scatter a few pellets around there. There's no doubt about that. Even down here at the very bottom, there's a few flyers, and that kind of continues around over here on the left. Just a handful of scattered stuff around the edges. So this is definitely not a perfect turkey pattern by any means. For a Hevi-Shot shell, that's not bad. And for a turkey pattern in general, it's a decent pattern. But this does give me hope that we can potentially refine these shells a little bit with the right choke. Maybe a little more constriction, a little less constriction, whatever these might prefer, and even our pattern up just a little bit more than this. So it definitely has potential, and even though this combination would absolutely be good enough to 40-yard turkey hunt with, I don't think it's the perfect choke combo for these shells either, which with it being a Hevi-Shot choke, you would kind of think it would be, but I don't necessarily believe that's the case. And for those wondering, you can't really tell it on the camera here, but it is a pretty even spread of both 4s and 5s throughout most of the pattern there. There's there's not really a big hot spot of 4s or a hot spot of 5s or anything like that, which can be a little bit of a tricky thing when it comes to blend shells like that. So that's a good sign. And blend loads can be a little tricky to get the pattern in the first place. So all of that being said, does give me hope that we can get a little bit more out of these shells still. Although, once again, that's not terrible overall. At least now we have a baseline for these Hevi-Shot Bismuth loads, and we can work up or down in choke constriction and stuff from here and see what they like and don't like. So not a terrible start for today. It's not perfect, but if that's the combo you had, you could absolutely take it out on a 40-yard turkey hunt and be just fine with it. And here's the wad from that shell. Overall, it's pretty standard equipment here, and definitely nothing too fancy, but we've got one pedal that curled inwards. I've seen them pretty much lay out flat. I've seen them curl over kind of backwards and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen one curl inside on itself like that. So that's definitely pretty interesting, and that could potentially be the reason why we kind of drifted a little bit off to the left with that pattern, if this happened right at the end of the barrel there. Either way, there's nothing stuck down in there, and there's no major damage other than this pedal being curled over and maybe caught the corner of this one as well. So the wad looks a little funny, but in the grand scheme of things, I think we should be able to move up and down in choke constriction on it and be okay. So we'll see what this likes and doesn't like moving forward. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that turkey pattern right there? It's a decent performance. It's absolutely a capable 40-yard pattern without a doubt, but I don't think it's anything super impressive either. For a Hevi-Shot shell, I'll take that. That's not bad at all. That's far from the worst we've seen out of a Hevi-Shot load. So are their bismuth shells a little better than their other Hevi-Shot loads? I don't know yet. It's definitely not bad the way that it sits, but we do have several sporadic voids and stuff in there and a little bit of stringy stuff around the edges that I think we might be able to take care of with the right choke combo. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the Hevi-Shot Bismuth turkey loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Would you turkey hunt with that pattern or combination of shell and choke the way it is? Or would you want to see it tuned in and refined just a little bit more? And what other chokes do you want to see those Hevi-Shot Bismuth loads through? Let me know all that down below. At the end of the day, with these being a Hevi-Shot load, it really could have gone either way. We could have saw a pattern like this, which is pretty decent, or it could have absolutely been terrible all over the place. So considering what that looks like, I'll take it all things considered, because Hevi-Shot stuff can be very wild and all over the place. So at least we got a usable 40-yard turkey pattern out of them today. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.